How about you do it? You just do it. Do the whole thing.
All right, we'll
That
set up a little
happens.
bit. We need a really funny intro as well. Forgot to tell you this.
It's gotta be really funny.
Scrap it. Never mind. Let's just cut right to the podcast. That's our intro. How creative was that, actually? A really fun intro. Let's just scrap it. Let's cut right to the podcast, and then we go right into the intro music with our label down on there.
And there's no one that I'm more inspired by and more defeated by on a daily basis. When I go to check my Strava, I'm like, that was a pretty good 5 mile run. Let's see what Tyler 12 and a half. Slow, easy pace.
It's all relative, man. It's all relative.
Did you always? I don't remember you being into running like this until like kind of recently, a couple of years.
Yeah, not at all. I think I probably started getting into it definitely after I graduated. But more so probably like 3 years ago, like really seriously, 2.5, 3 years ago. But yeah, definitely was not always the thing I like to do with my pastime. I was, yeah, I kind of just like slowly started getting into it probably like 2021, and then tried out a marathon and realized I'm like decent at long distance stuff, and kind of just fucking sent it off from there. But yeah,
So a marathon was the first thing like you signed up for.
the first race, I mean, I had done like turkey trots and like smaller, pretty low key stuff. Yeah, the marathon was definitely the first thing I signed up for. That was serious. And then honestly went pretty horrible the first couple, but you live and you learn. So, I think the first one I ran it in like a 3:20 and was shooting for sub 3 like right off the bat. So maybe my goals are too high to start with, but and then yeah, did the first one, and then next day instantly wanted to go back for more, so signed up for another one. My first one was Carlsbad down in like just north of LA, or like Ventura area, and then my second one, and that one was probably 2021, and then 2020 or 2020 2023 I did CIM in Sacramento, and then also blew up. I was way more ready for that one. Like the first one I ran, I literally had like the running shoes that I had been wearing for like probably like 5 or 6 years, and just like the worst like possible things I could have put on my feet, and went out with those because I thought it would feel good, and actually they held up pretty well, but not like ideal marathon shoes whatsoever. And then my second one I did was CIM, and was definitely more prepared for that one, but just went out like way too fast, and just kind of blew up probably like 16, 17 miles in, and like had to stop. Like my dad handed me a Red Bull that pushed me through the last like 10 miles. Ended up getting like the exact same time, like a 3 hour, 20 minute or something like that. And then I was like, all right, I really gotta do my homework here and figure out like why I'm not performing up to my expectations. And then yeah, my third one was the Napa one, which I crushed, and I got under 3 hours, which was awesome. So that was my goal the whole time, and I qualified for Boston.
Hell
And
yeah!
you're doing that in 2025.
No, so I qualified, but I didn't actually make it. So the way they have it set up is the 3 hours is the qualifying will put you into the lottery. And then once you get into the lottery, they have, I mean, I think I don't even know the numbers, but there was probably like, I don't know, say 50,000 people that made it under the 3 hour mark. And then from there, they pull, you can look it up right now, but from there, they pull out, I think they only let like 30,000 people total run it. But of that, there's also people that like volunteer and then could do like charity work and like I think if you raise like 10 grand, you can get into the Boston. So the cutoff was like 7 minutes under 3 hours last year. So I didn't make it, but my brother actually did. He got like a 2:49 marathon up in Seattle, and he qualified. So he'll be running it next year, and I think it's April. They have it mid-April.
Awesome.
So,
I remember
but
like a year ago, you and your brother were running like 100 miles in like 24 hours or something like that.
Yeah, he has a nonprofit that he does up in Seattle. It's called Food Intentions. So basically, he raises money just through a charity and through donations on a website, and he takes that money and supports Black-owned businesses and buys food from them, and then will take it to like underserved communities, homeless encampments, and provide food for them. So kind of a full circle there. But so he started that, and he runs that by himself up in Seattle right now. But the run was for his nonprofit, for raising money for that. So. Yeah, pretty cool stuff.
That's cool. I've already learned two things. One, I didn't realize that if you qualified, it doesn't mean you get to race right away, which is crazy.
It's a bummer.
So
Yeah.
wait, is it? Yeah. Hey, congratulations, you qualified.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't actually get to do it. You get the joy for like the couple months that you qualified, and then once they actually do the lottery, you realize you weren't fast enough.
So do you have to qualify again in order to do it for like the next year, or does that qualification like last a certain amount of time?
Yeah, so some races you will get what's called like tickets. So for an example, like Western States is like the most popular trail run that's been going on for, I don't know, like 50 years or whatever, and that's in California. So every time you qualify and you don't get in, like your tickets will add up. But for Boston, you have to qualify every year, so it won't carry over. So I'll have to qualify again, which I'm planning on doing next year. I just don't know which marathon I'm going to do yet. So that's another goal for 2025.
Have you started? I started thinking about doing, people do golf trips, people do surf trips, but like, have you thought like, oh, I'm gonna go do the Nashville like rock and roll marathon, and then I'm just gonna hang out in Nashville for a couple of days?
I haven't. The only marathon I've thought about doing is Boston, like for actually traveling to it, but obviously you have to qualify it for like we've been talking about. But in terms of traveling and running, like earlier this year, me and Hendu and a couple other buddies went over to Yosemite and hit like I think it was like a 44-mile trail run or something like that. Like literally just basically around the entire park. So in terms of traveling and running, I like to do like more like outdoorsy or like naturey, like trail running stuff. A little bit more scenic, which is kind of fun. And then next year we're planning to do the Grand Canyon, a rim to rim trail run, which is similar distance, but we're going to probably do that sometime in like spring next year. So we're Hendu actually texted me today, trying to plan it out, get a date set on our calendar. But yeah, it's fun stuff. Challenging, but like
cool.
it's a full on adventure. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Well, we kind of just jumped into starting talking running, but I'm gonna reel us back here really quick.
For sure.
Congratulations. How does it feel to be the very first official guest of the Earn Your Couch podcast?
Dude, stoked. I've been fired up about this like ever since you texted me, Jacob. I've just been like, shit, like I listen to podcasts like very frequently, and I'm like, what am I going to talk about? Like, I feel like I'm not like that interesting of a person. Like, like I'm still like so early in my career. I don't even have that many goals or just like accomplishments and whatnot, but it feels good. And talking to you guys, I'm stoked to chat it up.
Welcome to Couch Nation, Tyler. Welcome to Couch Nation.
Thanks for having me on.
We're throwing out a few different like, audience names like Couch Nation or maybe the Couch Potatoes.
The Couch Potatoes, I like that one.
Yeah, no, we're fired up to have you, and it's funny to me that you say that you don't think you're a very interesting person, because I think you're one of the most interesting people to talk to. And
I appreciate that.
One of the things that I was realizing, and I was having this conversation with, I think it was Ryan, but we've been like getting super fired up on this idea of like presence and really living in the moment. And yeah, for a lot of people, like being present is like, not being on their phone and like just like being there, but really making the most of the mundane and like how do you have fun. And I feel like you're one of the best people at just like having a good time, and like when shit hits the fan, you just kind of go like, well, someone's got to do it, and then you just like take care of business.
I do love that saying.
Dude, I mean, it's a good saying. It's like someone does have to do it.
Someone always has. I hope someone writes that on my gravestone. Someone has to do it. I want that to live on forever.
So it's so good.
I see you all over Strava, running, mountain biking, doing a lot of heavy duty running too, right?
a lot of miles, a lot of mileage. Do you have this mentality now? Like, do you have the earn your couch mentality? I'm just curious with the past month of us putting content out there, have you started to think like, it's Tuesday, I gotta go earn my couch today?
I'm trying to earn my couch every day. Nothing is deserved. Like, you always got to earn your couch, man. And it's more so a feeling thing. It's like I can't, like today I haven't had the chance to work out yet. I'm going to try to go on a run after this to earn my bed and go to sleep. It's just always been kind of a mental thing for me. Like, if I don't get my exercise in, and like my girlfriend could probably speak to this pretty hard, because I never stop moving. I'm always on the run. And I probably got that from my mom, because that's how my mom is. She's a little psycho. But it just makes me feel good. Like, I feel uneasy at the end of the day, like unused energy, and like wasted time if I'm not going out and exerting all my energy and doing that. So it's more of a feel good thing. Obviously, I have goals and try to accomplish certain times and races and all that kind of stuff. But the main thing is it makes me feel good and it makes me happy. And as long as it makes me happy, that's why I'm doing it. So, and earning your couch is pretty cool too. Sitting on your couch at the end of the day with a tub of ice cream, watching some TV is pretty awesome, especially after you ran like 10, 20 miles or whatever it is. So
10, 20, 75 miles. One of the things that we've talked about with the earn your couch mentality is just like, yeah, we want to, like, we have goals, we have desires. Yeah, we want to lock in. We want to make the most of our life, be successful, that whole side of the world. But like, we also love like watching the game and not feeling like we should be doing something else, or shooting the shit with friends, having a board game night, like doing stuff that's almost like the mini vacation and the reward. But I don't think the couch like necessarily needs to be like the physical thing. And so I'm curious, what's like on a weekly basis, like what's your couch? Like, what do you, like when you're running 12 miles, what are you saying? Like, I can't wait to go blank.
yeah, it's honestly my couch is kind of my couch sometimes. Like,
Oh, it's our
Mine is
couch
too.
too.
like I enjoy that, like after exertion, just being able to chill. But I mean, my weeks are so busy. Like, waking up, we start work at 8 a.m. We're there in the office or on the job site, work until 4 or 5, work out for 2 or 3 hours, come home, make some dinner and hit the sack at like 9 o'clock and do it again the next day. So I don't really necessarily have a couch during the week, but on the weekends, I always try to get my workout like earlier in the morning. And then I'd say my couch is probably just, like you said, Jacob, it's spending time with the friends and doing something mellow, or going out and partying, but trying to keep the partying to a minimal, because it kind of wrecks the rest of your week. So, but yeah, just spending time, like quality time with friends. I was talking to, who was I talking to? I think I was talking to Trap, and I was talking to someone else about this. Just like how we live in such an awesome time in our lives right now, like where we have minimal, responsibilities, enough money to go out and enjoy ourselves and live in like an awesome place with, majority of our friends. We got roommates and stuff like that. Like 5-10 years from now, we're not going to have any of that. So I think just cherishing quality time with your buddies is super important, because, when we're married and have kids running around, you have extra responsibilities and, not enough time to just sit back and just hang out and have a beer with your buddies, watching football or whatever it is. So, yeah, my couch is just trying to relax and enjoy the moment. So
It's interesting because like that, like I hear you on that, where I try to be like, I'm grateful to like have roommates, have some of my best friends in the same city, understanding that now life is like past enough where I see, as life changes, like the people that you see on a regular basis changes, people move, people get in relationships, people get a new job, it takes them somewhere else. You get a new job, it takes you somewhere else. All these like, the only constant is change. So like a lot of people are just like, dude, like chill out. Like this is your time to like have a bunch of fun and like, why be focused? Why? And I mean, most people aren't saying why be focused,
yeah,
but like let loose a little bit. Like you're in your 20s, you're young, you got time.
yeah, have fun, enjoy it.
I'm curious how like, I'm sure you've heard that. And I'm sure a lot of people are asking you like, why are you spending
For sure. Dude, I haven't really been running for that long, but for the first up and probably till like 6 months ago, I had literally no idea how to answer that question. Like I would kind of make up answers that made sense in like the cliche way in my mind, but I didn't truly believe it. Um, I think the real reason I do it is it's like a serious form of meditation for me. I think everyone has like their happy place, whether they express themselves through sports, through art, through music, through their work, their family, or whatever it is. And for me at this point in my life, I think it's really expressed through running. And like I enjoy hanging out with myself a lot. Like I can totally do like a solo trip and have next to fun I would have, hanging out with friends. But I mean, not saying I don't like hanging out with friends, but like I really truly enjoy like being like with myself and with my thoughts. So I think it's a form of meditation for me that it's really brought me peace. And I've realized like throughout the last couple of years, like 2 years probably, I've been like incredibly happy, which I'm really thankful for. But I think a big portion of that is because of running and the long distance stuff, especially. Yeah.
I can resonate with that. Like for me, Tyler, I hated running for so long because I mean it's running, right? Most people
Yeah.
don't like it.
I was the
but-
same way, bro.
Right?
Absolutely
You just
hated it. Yeah.
yeah. Then one day I was all Jake was like, "You got to get Strava and try it out." And one day I just decided to go for a run, and it was only like 1.5 miles, 2 miles, nothing crazy. And I'm curious if you've felt the same way, but I feel like a sense of like freedom in a way where you're not thinking about work. You're not thinking about your life outside of work. All you're really thinking about is that present moment of you like in the run, just trying to like complete it or explore more. It's almost like, so I live in like the Santa Cruz Mountains. And so there's a lot of trail running. I'm kind of like what you were talking about. And I find
There's a
that I
bunch.
have no plan. Yeah. I have like no plan as to like how far I'm going to run, where I'm going to run. I just start going. And some days I'm feeling really good. I want to just keep going and I'll find a new trail and see where it takes me. And it's that freedom, that sense of freedom, that body high, I guess you could say, that I find to be really enjoyable running. And I don't know if that's something you can resonate with too.
No, 100%. It's such a good, and I mean, it's not for everyone. Like, there's so many people that I've tried to like get into it, and they just are super resistant to start. Sometimes it works out, but it's definitely not for everyone. But no, totally. Like, I've had some like almost out of body experiences running and just like being in that runner's high, and like had the best ideas in my head, and it's crazy. Jacob, and I think I texted you and Meth one day, and I had like this crazy business idea. I don't know if I've actually ever told you guys it, but it was like the craziest thing I've ever thought of. And I was like, I'm gonna quit everything I'm doing right now, and I'm gonna go do this thing. Like and I still have it in my notes. I'm not gonna do it on this podcast, so I'm too scared to. But we're gonna send it and share it with you guys at one point in my life. But it's just like, you just get into like, I don't know, it changes the way you think, and it just makes you feel incredibly good. But like I said, it's not for everyone. Everyone's got their own little niche and their thing that they do. And I guess running is my thing. And obviously it works for you guys as well. It makes your day better.
I'm curious, based on what you said, where one of the things you were like, I really like hanging out with myself. Like you have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I think one, that's rare and awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I totally see it. Like I said, you're like, you find a way to have fun, and I doubt it's just when you're around me. Like I'm sure you're doing that all the time.
I have the most fun when I'm with you.
Dude, I had the most fun when I'm with you.
We have some pretty sick moments.
But I guess one of the things that I was wondering is because like there's like the one end of the spectrum, like the David Goggins, who is just you're just like, fuck you, work harder. Like, what's your like self-talk like when you're? And I'm sure there's a lot of voices that come and go, like depending on the length of the run or whatever. But in general, do you feel like self-talk is a strength of yours, or is it something that you thought about?
Yeah, I think in concept, it sounds better when you're kind of just thinking about it, and like you're like, oh, like when I'm in that moment, I'm just gonna tell myself like, hey, you only got a couple more miles, or it's the pain is gonna end soon and that kind of stuff. But when you're actually in the moment, like it's incredibly hard to do that to yourself, like incredibly hard. And that's why most people aren't able to do like the super long distance things. Like there's races out there where you run 300 plus miles. It's like there's a very small amount of people in this world that can do that. But it's just like telling yourself that in the moment is what you have to train your mind to. For me personally, I mean, it kind of is that, like, the pain is only temporary and it's only going to last. And you just know that once it's over and that accomplishment feeling is going to totally override that pain feeling. And you're going to feel, say your pain is at a 5, but your accomplishment's going to be at like a 20, like when you're done with that run. And so that's kind of my thought process when I'm going through it.
Well, I feel like it also like there's like an amplification effect of like the harder it is, like there's a coefficient of like every point of pain is like 5x. So if it's a 2 on the pain scale, it's a 10 on the satisfaction. If it's
100%.
if it's a 10 on the pain scale, it's a 50.
100%.
But you have to be able to live in that 10 pain scale.
Yeah.
For otherwise you quit, and then that's another mental state to be in.
Yeah. And one thing on pain, I was listening to a Nick Bear podcast, who's a dog. You guys know who Nick Bear is. He had on a girl, Sally McRae, and she's a professional ultra runner, and they're talking about pain, and they brought up a quote, and I don't remember who said it, but they said the quote was, "Pain isn't real." And obviously pain is real. And that's kind of a hard thing to interpret right off the bat. Like, if I walked over to your guys' house right now and punched you in the face, like, yeah, you would feel pain. Or you punched me, like there would be pain there, but it would be temporary. And I think what they tweaked the quote to be was, you can control the amount of pain or the role that pain plays in your life. And so, when you're feeling that pain, it can either, aggravate you, create anger, sadness, or whatever it is, or you can channel that pain, into something greater, that can, build on your, build in your mind or your emotions or whatever, and it can create a positive impact on things, and you can grow from it, and you can learn from it, and you can take that and to apply it to, other places in your life. So, I really like that quote, you can control the role that pain plays in your life. So I kind of take that, when I'm running too, on those long runs, and I just try to channel it in a different way.
That's a really good quote.
I like that.
That's really good.
I feel like on my longer runs, there's an ebb and flow between like you don't give up, and we only got like 3 miles to go. We've already done 6. Like, just why stop now?
Yeah.
We've already done this twice. We just do one more. And then a mile later, you're like, God damn it, don't give up. This isn't you.
Yeah, totally. Dude, still, like, there's runs, like, just because I've run, long distances doesn't mean the 2 or 3, 4 mile runs are any easier. Like, you still have those days. Like everyone, like, sometimes the things that you do every day are just harder than the day before for some reason, and who knows what it is. You're just having that kind of day. So it's like, just because you run far if you've done it before, doesn't make the shorter ones any easier. It just, you kind of get used to that feeling and can kind of just build off of it. And it's just, the more time you do it, the bigger capacity you have in your brain to endure it.
It actually makes me feel a lot better. It's the reps.
It's the reps.
It's the reps, though.
Totally.
Yeah, because like once you've pushed through it a few times, like the next time you need to push through it, you're like, there's data in your brain that you're like, oh, I've actually gotten past this point before.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't my end threshold.
Well, and something Jake and I talk about, we've talked about before, is getting back into that routine. And you're running all the time, so like for me, I have to like fully take like 2 or 3 days to get back into the routine of trying to run again, because it takes a lot of effort, energy. You got to be in the right mindset. Do you find yourself like having days where you fall off and you take 3 or 4 days off in a row? And like, is that something that you do? Because I'll be honest with you, it doesn't seem like you take days off when I go.
I hate taking days off. Like I said, like, just the way I run is like, if I have a day off, and even rest days are very important, don't get me wrong. Like, you need to take care of your body, listen to your body. But for some reason, like, I take a day off, I just feel like antsy, I just feel like I need to go out and just do something. And because I know when I do, I've never gone on a run and felt shitty after, like mentally. Like, I've always been happy. Even like, obviously you can get hurt here and there, but I've never been pissed that I went on a run. Like, and so I just know like that mental state is just like wired in my brain. Like, if I go and do something, like, I know I'm going to feel better after. So just like on routine, like it, yeah, it taking 3 or 4 days off is a lot. So for
It
me,
is. It is.
for me, the longer I take it off, and you're right, like once you get into a routine of not doing like your typical workout every day and that kind of stuff, it is harder to get back into it. But hopefully there's something that's in your head that's telling you once you get and go and do it and you get back into that routine, like you're going to feel so much better. And it affects like so many different parts of your life too.
I feel like you can get like, used to like feeling worse. Like, oh, you're like, oh, this is now my baseline, even though like the week before, like you were consistent with your workouts, and every time you work out, it work. Like I always like saying it works every time. Like you just said with the run, like I could be in a bad mood, go for a run, it works. I could be in a great mood, go for a run, it still works. Like it doesn't need to be a run. It could be just generally movement, like getting your heart rate up. It works every time. But when you haven't done that in 2 days, the third day is like, you're now used to like the 2 days. You're like, oh, this is normal.
Yeah.
Even though you do one workout and you're like, hell, did I take a day off? Like
Yeah.
that was
100%.
fantastic. You talked about, I'm going to kind of jump to another spot here just because you mentioned goals. And then you also mentioned like, I hope you have something that's like telling you to like get up. So have you heard of the Misogi, the 2025 Misogi?
I have, but you might have to enlighten me.
Yeah, let me remind you. All right, let me just read it. What is a Misogi? Put one thing on your calendar that will define the year. Make it challenging and memorable so that the benefits last well beyond the event. Run a marathon, master a language, climb a mountain, write a book, start the podcast, whatever it is. So the Misogi's up is, the eye of the beholder. But I'm curious, obviously Boston is on the brain and you got your rim to rim on your brain. But if you like looking at 2025 as we're in December of 24, is there something like, all right, I've run 100 miles, I've done 100K, I've done this. What's the Misogi for 2025?
Yeah, I would say my Misogi for 2025, or what I'm kind of pushing toward more, is kind of related to running, and at the same time kind of not, but just in general helping more people. So one thing why I say it's kind of related to running is my race that I'm setting up in late January, is for the goal of it is, well, there's a couple goals with it, but one of the main goals is helping my brother with this nonprofit, and hopefully he moves here at some point in 2025, and I'd like to help him out and run that organization in San Francisco, which I think would be really cool. And then also through work, I'm going to try to, my company is family-run company, a little smaller family business, which is awesome, but we don't have any sort of like volunteer work that we do as a company, and I know a lot of companies do that, so I'm trying to actually talk to my uncles about it today, but I'm going to try to set up that part of our company where we all go out and do some sort of volunteer work and give back to the community, like, whether it's once a year, a couple times a year, once a month, or whatever it is. So trying to just channel my energy and giving back to others, because I feel the best, and I feel like I'm at my best self when I'm doing that. That's one of the big goals for 2025. Is my Misogi, giving back to others.
I like the Misogi. I feel like one of the cool things about the earn your couch mindset is that it's not, we kind of like pigeonholed ourselves when we first started talking about this idea as it just being about fitness, but like it's really not just about fitness. I think you can earn your couch in a lot of ways. I think earning your couch for a loved one who's gone through a hard time. You earn your couch by putting on an event that gives back to others. You earn your couch by showing up and giving your best self at work to help the customers, to help your stakeholders, whatever it is. I think kind of just, if you lean into life, you can lean into the couch and like feel really good about it. So I think that's an awesome Misogi. I want to hear more about your race because I've gotten a couple texts from you, but like, what's the origin story? How did you think of this? What's your vision with it? Or explain the race first.
Yeah.
I know the rules, but
Yeah. So the baseline of the race is last man standing, and basically what that entails is a 4 to 4.5 mile loop. Well, over the span of 24 hours, it's meant to get you to 100 miles, roughly like a 4.1 something, a 4.2 mile loop will get you to that 100 miles after 24 hours. But basically, it's that loop. You start and finish in the same location, and you go out on the loop. So you start at the beginning of an hour. Say you start the race at 9 a.m. At 9 a.m., you go out, you have to run that loop, be back, cross the finish line before that hour is over, so 10 a.m. And then once 10 a.m. starts, you have to start at that loop again. And you basically go for as long as you can endure. And the cap is at 24 hours. So after that 24-hour period, if there's more than one person at that end, last hour, it's a foot race to who could finish that lap the quickest, and that person would win. So it's a pretty gnarly and setup. I got it from my brother Brandon. He ran a race earlier this year up in Seattle, and it was the last man standing, the exact same format actually, and he won. He ran, I think he did like on his 17th lap, he won. So he ran roughly like 66 miles and climbed, and it was also a trail run. Each lap he was climbing 1,000 feet. So he climbed just under 20,000 feet in the 17-hour period. And the last guy that was with him just tapped out. And he's like, just looked at him and he's like, dude, I'm bored. I'm done. Can't do this anymore. And my brother he took home the trophies. I got the idea from that race. And yeah, it's and the reason I picked that one was the logistics of it are easier than pretty much any other race that you can set up, because you're starting and finishing in the same location. So I'm actually going to start it in my garage in the house I'm in right now. And I live 2 blocks away from the Presidio. So I'm going to do the loop down the street through the entrance of the Presidio and loop around there. And then the finish line will be at my house as well. So it'll be home base here in the garage. And logistically, it's not too crazy setting up the course, as opposed to doing like a 100-mile trail run, in the woods.
Yeah.
Like there's some liability issues you got to deal with. Setting up 8 stations, like it gets pretty gnarly. So this is a little easier format to put together. So yeah, I'm
And you
excited.
could have some chill vibey music on at the house while people are awaiting for their next turn.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the idea. And would probably like to build on it and eventually incorporate more things into it, like get the fundraising a little bit more involved. I was actually talking to your roommate. I talked to Dom yesterday about it a little bit. He had some pretty cool ideas. So on this first one, I'll probably keep it a little bit more simple and just get a feel of what it's like organizing an event like that.
Yeah.
And then from there, kind of, learn from it, and hopefully make it legit in the coming years. So we'll see how it goes. And you guys are obviously welcome to come. Whoever's listening to this, welcome to join us as well. But yeah, I'm super excited, super stoked. And then my brother will come down and help me set it up. So yeah, it should be a fun time.
I'm curious. I feel like there's a lot of different ways. One, it's awesome because I feel like it's so daunting to like put something together, because you like are comparing what you're gonna put together to like the events that you've been to, and like what would be super sick, but like maybe not feasible right now. And then you're like, it's not gonna be that much. But like in reality, it's just super dope to have the MVP, that minimum viable product, to build off of. And so I guess I'm curious, because there's a lot of different ways I think you can do it, and I don't want to point you in any one direction, but like, how are you defining success for this event for yourself?
Yeah, so for the first one, like I said, I'm gonna keep it pretty simple, and I think the success I'm gonna have from it is literally anyone showing up and just running a lap and getting earning their couch.
Right.
I think in my mindset for the first one, obviously raising money is a big one and helping out my brother, helping out others, but also helping out others through figuring out what they're capable of. And I think people are far more capable than they think they are. And, it just takes the first step and pushing on from there. So I really hope, some people, and I know a lot of the people that are coming, I think there's roughly, 15, 16 people or whatever that said they're going at this point. I know, some of them aren't into like the long distance and, putting themselves through a pain cave. But I think I think people will be surprised at what they can do. Whether it's just one lap, if they haven't run 4 miles before in their life, I think they can do it within an hour. No doubt in my mind. And I think a lot of people can do a lot more than that. So my success is just seeing the feeling in people's faces. After they finish whatever they think they can't finish.
That's awesome.
That's
That's a
pretty
really
cool.
good answer.
It's
How
so
are, if people were trying to donate to, what was your brother's organization called again?
Yeah, it's called Food Intentions.
Food Intentions.
Yeah. And so it's legit nonprofit.
Yeah.
Registered, and he's got a website and everything. So that's the baseline of the nonprofit that will be supporting. And then hopefully we have a call with another guy that reached out to us through friends of friends that his company might help sponsor it as well, which would be really cool.
Nice.
So starting
Really
low,
cool.
but it's starting somewhere. So you gotta you won't score if you don't shoot. So we're shooting here.
Can we, after we get off, can we get a link from you for, like, if people want to either sign up or if they want to donate? Because we'll just put that in
For
the
sure.
description.
Yeah, I'll
caption
send you
bio or
over the link to his nonprofit, and you can go on the website, check it out. It explains what it is, so you can see if you do donate what you would be giving your money to. And it's pretty cool. If you ever have any urge to interview someone that's pretty similar to me but a lot better person, my brother would be a perfect guy to reach out to. He's an incredibly interesting dude, one of the best people I've ever met and known. So pretty stoked he's my brother. But he does a lot of really cool things and way crazier shit than I do.
Is he gonna be down there for the
Yeah.
race?
Yeah. He'll come down.
Cool.
He'll fly down for the weekend, and he'll probably be running it as well. He said if it grows, he'll probably sit back and not run and help, actually direct the race like a real race director would. So it's probably something I would do as well. But the first one, we'll probably all get after it and run with everybody and see how it goes. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
because he'll take home the trophy if
For
he does
sure.
it.
No doubt in my mind he would win. It wouldn't even be a race. It would just be who can struggle until Brandon wins. Who can struggle along.
Like it'd be like any Hubert at the Piker Union cornhole tournament, essentially, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to be the one to beat you guys in that cornhole tournament, especially when I can't see the other board. I'm 20 feet away from it. But I will give that.
That's awesome.
We'll give it to the Huberts. You guys are oddly good at cornhole.
And so you talked about wanting to do more races. What's your envision on where you want to be? Do you want to be doing a race a month?
Like race director,
Yeah.
non-race.
I'd probably just start on this one. I mean, I think the logistics of it, it's pretty intense. Like it takes a lot, especially if you want to make it a legit event. So for now, it would probably just be this one. We'll see how the first one goes, but ideally, it'd be just once a year for right now and kind of see how that runs. Keeping in the Presidio, I think, is actually pretty cool because I don't think there's actually any races that happen specifically in the Presidio. I know there's a lot of stuff that happens out in the Marina Green and obviously like the SF Marathon and stuff, but in terms of like a last manding format race, I don't think there's really anything like that in the city. So it has potential, I think. But yeah, for now, just one a year and see how that runs. And if it does happen to get bigger, I don't really know how it works. I haven't looked into it that much, but I know you have to get permits and go through that whole process that actually starts getting legit. So we'll see how the first one goes.
Once there's some strangers with some liabilities,
Yeah.
make sure you're covered.
Yeah, you got to make them sign their life away to start.
Yeah, before you do this, if you're like the first person on the floor and not the last man standing, it's not our problem.
Yeah, it's not our problem.
fault.
Crawl the other direction. Like, just get out of here.
So someone's got to do it, but it's not me.
Yeah, it's not this one, but I'm sorry. I'm throwing my hands up for you, Doug.
It's so funny. Well, dude, I want to say a couple things. One, I'm grateful that we spent some time, and I want to make sure that you're able to get in a run before your early lights out. I mean, so I mean, I'm down to keep talking if you have time, but also, I think if we want to end on just the question that we usually start with on each of our podcasts, but it is, what's something that you're grateful for?
Man, I kind of knew you were gonna ask that. I thought we were gonna
Did it
start
feel
with
like-
it, but
did Did you feel like I was teeing it
You're
up?
teeing it up that whole time. Um, no, I think, I've been thinking about it all day, and one of the things that I'm mostly grateful for right now in my life, not necessarily today, I mean today, but every day in the recent past and hopefully near future, that just for the people I have around me. Like they say that you're the average of your, 5 closest friends or whatever, but I feel like all of my friends are, way better people than I am, and I like to think so, and I'm just incredibly grateful for, you know, people like you guys and people like, my roommates and my girlfriend and, my family. It's the people I have around me in my life, because I think your life's a direct reflection. The way you act, the way you present yourself is a direct reflection of the people that you hang out with. So, I'm extremely grateful for, being able to have conversations with people like you guys, that are actually interested in, what's going on in people's heads, what motivates people. So, yeah. What are you guys grateful for?
Yeah, that was a good answer.
That was really good. It's hard to beat.
Like
I would say-
said, I knew that question was to be asked. I had all day to think about it.
yeah.
There's
Oh,
a good
yeah.
chance I ask it if we're talking for like, even if I don't know the person, there's a good chance that it's coming out. I think people just, one, I think it's refreshing rather than like, how's your day gone? It'd just be like, hey, what's one thing you're grateful for? Or just like in passing, like, my coffee. And you're like, fucking awesome. Yeah, that's great.
Before you continue, I've watched all your guys' these episodes, and I remember the story that you were telling about how you were talking to a client or someone through work, and right before you started the call, and I think it was a girl, you just asked her, how's your day going? Like, what are you grateful for? And you said afterwards that she was like super stoked that you asked it. So I like that question. I'm glad that you guys think about that. I think that's really awesome.
That's awesome.
It's good. Yeah, it's a self-reinforcing question too, because of the amount of people who will be like, hey, thanks for like asking, even though like you're just genuinely curious. And it's like, if I'm going to interact with a person, let's connect a little bit, as opposed
sure.
to just like beep, boop, beep, boop, pop, and then moving on. So it's cool when people are like, oh, I really appreciated that. Like, I'm going to ask someone else what they're grateful for. And you're like, people like that, I like it. It feels good. I'm going to keep going. And it's kind of addicting. You're like,
100%.
not everyone wants, I don't need to ask this every time, but it's a really good question.
No, but
No,
adding
it's
to
Cool.
that- adding
What?
to that, Tyler, like what Jake said, asking his coworker, like the next day after that conversation we had, Jake inspired me to just like answer a cold caller that's been trying to cold call me for weeks. Like, this is the 9th time they're calling my phone. And instead of just ignoring it, like, I always do, I was like, I'm going to ask them what they're grateful for. So I answered the phone, and she was like, hi, is this Cole? And I go, yes, it is. And then she's all, well, I just want to know if you do your company's marketing. And I go, Lisa, hang on. I just want to ask you one question. What are you grateful for? And she just stopped and went, well, I guess I'm really just grateful to be here like every single day and give myself an opportunity to work harder and harder. And then we had like a 15-minute conversation after that, just about like what's going on, like how work is for them. No idea who this person is. But I immediately like ended the call afterwards, like after the conversation was over, because I was like, all right, well, have a nice day. And I immediately was just like, I feel really like good right now. Like, I don't know why, but like, I feel that like totally changed my mood, because you actually had like a meaningful conversation. And so like, you should try it out with some people at work or close family members that you're catching up with on the phone. It does make a difference in the conversation. It's pretty cool. But if I was going to say something I'm grateful for today, I would say I'm grateful for my girlfriend, because she like challenges myself to actually like go out and do the things that I enjoy doing at the same time. So I'm grateful for the fact that she does her part in living together, and like, doesn't just leave dishes around, or doesn't want to make food, but she brings like a positive energy and attitude to wanting to go and do like the errands that no one wants to do during the day. And so like, we do them together, and like having almost like a teammate, I guess, in life is pretty cool. So I'm grateful for the fact that she's able like to do those things with me every single day and week, I would say.
For sure. That's awesome. It's good to have a partner, man. Sucks to do life by yourself.
And that's my cue. Here I am.
All eyes on Jacob.
Hello.
All right, Jacob.
Now it's my turn. I'm grateful to be single, I'm grateful to have an opportunity to focus on myself, to do all my own dishes, to do all my own errands.
That's
to
why.
get mad at myself when I leave them out, you know.
That's why you guys are brothers. That's awesome.
That's awesome. That was an awesome cue right there.
Well, all right, I am grateful to be that in a lot of ways, but I had an answer that I was excited about. One, I wanted to bring up my most recent, like, when someone said, what are you grateful for, and like the interaction. This actually wasn't the most recent, but a couple weeks ago, we were all hanging out watching football. Couch had been earned, and there was like probably like 7, 8 people hanging out. Like the YouTube TV was like glitching out, and like it would like crash and it would freeze, and we're like, dude, what's going on? Like, I paid for this. Like, I'm not even streaming it. Like, I have to deal with this. Seems fraudulent. No. And it like scratched out and it paused, and then one of the guys was like, well, I guess, we could just like say what we're grateful for or whatever. And he's like, nah, I'm just fucking kidding. I'm like, ha ha ha. And Ryan and I looked at him, we're all, that's actually a great idea. And we stopped. We didn't even worry about turning the red zone back on. We just went around like 8 people saying what they're grateful for. And god damn it, like, I learned things about people that I knew somewhat well, and I feel like I know them a lot more. I learned things about people that I knew very well, and I'm like, I just resonate, connect with that. And so we talk about working out works every time. Gratitude works every time. Like, it's one of the reasons why I think it's such a great practice to, like, right before you're about to, like, all right, here comes the whole load of today. Starting now, I know, Tyler, you probably get to the site at 6 and you're like, here goes the next 14 hours, like, locked in kind of thing.
Really?
And if there's like stress of like what's coming, like just taking a second, like writing down 2 or 3 things, like you just always start your day like on the right foot. It's a crazy, like I remember learning about it and I was like, it's for like whatever, like it's not going to do anything. And then you literally feel it work. Like, you're like stressed, you write 3 things down, you try and get creative. You're like, what am I grateful for? And one of the things that I wrote down most recently was, one, the opportunity to improve my life. Like, we all have the opportunity to make the most of what we have. And the second thing was, I'm grateful to really feel like I'm coming into my own and like connecting with the world. I feel like for a while, I don't know if it like was a COVID effect or just working from home or whatever, but like if you weren't in my circle, it didn't feel like, it took like a lot to like for me to consider you part of the circle or someone that I would reach out to or someone that I'd ask for help. In work, it's a different situation, but just like, the people that you meet at the gym, and then all of a sudden, like, you're just a character in my world. And I feel in the last, for sure, 3 months, but like couple of years, really coming into like trying to be intentional and talk when you're talking to just like the random person in line. Now, you don't need to be like always locked in, like, like tell me your traumas, like type of like social interaction, but just being genuine and just being like yourself and not feeling like you need to put on any sort of front, but just if they take you as you are, which most people do, then you just interact with them. And then really I've made it like a goal of mine just to be like, let me understand this person more. And it's made interactions with people that I know improved because I'm connecting with them on a deeper level. It's improved interactions with people that I don't know because now I'm like getting to know people as opposed to like kind of doing that dance on the surface. And so what I noticed was, with that intention of trying to connect with the world and like see people as their own main characters, and we're meeting as main characters in our own stories, it's just enhanced all sorts of interactions, which has just like kind of made life blossom in a lot of cool ways. So those are my 2. 1, opportunity to improve yourself, and 2, the opportunity to connect with people in the world on a deeper level.
I love that. You're a good
Nice
man,
answer.
Hubert.
Including this one,
Hubert.
Timo.
No, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
dude, I feel very lucky that, 1, you wanted to come on and just have a conversation, but 2, that we were actually able to like have the idea and within a couple of weeks just like make it happen. Time to action is getting shorter and shorter in my life. I don't know if you've noticed that, but you're like, I want that. I want to do something. I'm going to make it happen. Why not? Like, no one else is going to do it. Someone has to.
Someone's got to do it, man. I was talking to Meth on like Monday or Tuesday, And he said one of his mantras that he's starting to live by a little bit more is think less, do more. Not don't think at all, but think less, do more, in the sense that, shit's not going to happen if you don't go out and do it. So, like, don't keep it a thought for too long. Express it, verbalize it, put it out into the world, and shit will happen.
That's cool. We'll actually wrap it on this. But what's a mantra? What's a mantra in your life?
A mantra in my life? Someone's got to do it.
Dude, I was
getting ready for you to be
works.
automatic on that. Someone's got to do it.
No, I honestly don't. Shit pops up in my head and goes in one ear out the other. So, I just live life to the fullest, man. Just live it up. Have no regrets. That's my biggest thing I've been thinking about recently, honestly, is you don't want to get to your final day and regret that you didn't do something. So that's what I've been trying to do recently, is just do as much stuff as, that I have in my head that I've been thinking about recently. So, whether it's setting up a race or doing the nonprofit or the volunteer stuff for my work, or, saying yes to a podcast like this or whatever it is, just, you never know what good could come of it. Just go out and do it. Don't have any regrets. That's the big mantra. Someone's got to do it. It's the big mantra.
That's awesome.
Hell
I
yeah.
love that. Well, thank you for taking our guest virginity here on earnyourcouch.com.
Yeah.
I don't know if Spotify is going to like that word or dislike the word. We've also said fuck shit a couple of times, so I don't know.
I think that's allowed, right?
No, it is. It is.
Spotify loves pro virginity at Spotify.
No, but
Yeah, we'll
really,
be
like,
all right.
Tyler, thanks for hopping on, man. I'm just stoked that we got to have this conversation, and the race seems super awesome. That's in a month, right? January 25th, is that right?
Yeah, coming up like about a month and a half. So hopefully everything turns out well, and I appreciate you guys having me on. You guys are actually like incredibly interesting to listen to. Like, I love listening to you guys on the past couple episodes that you guys had. So it just gets people thinking, like, keep doing what you guys are doing. It's a good feeling, and people are listening. So more people will listen if you continue. But I appreciate you guys
Hell
having me here.
We appreciate that.
Hell yeah.
All right, well, that is a wrap on episode 4 of the Earn Your Couch podcast. It's our first official podcast with a guest, Mr. Tyler Morales, special friend of ours, put on a really cool event, helping his brother's foundation, Food Intentions, kind of like good intentions, but food intentions. And so we will have a link for how to donate or how to check out what they do and how they serve their community. If you haven't already, we'd appreciate a follow on Instagram at Earn Your Couch. You can check out our YouTube, our Spotify, give those a follow as well. And we'd also love to see if you're earning your couch, tag us on Instagram. Let us know, how you're earning your couch, whether it's a hike or going for a morning run or just showing up and having a good time with friends and family when they need you. We'll see you in the next episode.